It is time now to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. And joining me is public affairs analyst Oladende Ario, as well as broadcast journalist Funke Treasure. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Independent. Quit notice, Akeredolu backs down, reaches consensus with Miyetti Allah. Monarchs communities beg Igboho for support against herders. Miyetti Allah agrees to ban its open grazing, and that story you find on the front page of the Daily Independent. All right, let's quickly move now to the front page of the Leadership newspaper. Quit notice, Southwest Governors Headers broker peace. Quit notice, Southwest Governors Headers broker peace, and headsmen agreed to leave forest reserves and system fishing out criminals. Federal government allays fears over heightened tension. You can read more on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. We move to the Daily Times now. Truce at last between under government headsmen. Truce at last between under government headsmen. To the front page of the Blueprint 2021, Northwest tops as troops kill 158 in 25 days. Northwest tops as troops kill 158 in 25 days. All right, you find details of that story on the front page of the Blueprint. Let's quickly move now to the national economy. PIB, high cost of doing business in oil sector could stall benefits. High cost of doing business in oil sector could stall benefits. Quickly now we move to the front page of business. They use clothes going out of reach for many Nigerians as inflation bites. That's the story you find on the front page of the Business Day. Quite concerning story there. All right, we move to the front page of the Nigerian News Direct, and still talking about one of the major stories on almost all of the pages this morning. Southwest governors ban open grazing, illegal occupation of forest reserves. To the front page of the Daily Trust now. No quit notice to Fulani in Southwest. Governors calm in Lagos, Oyo, others as police deployed to Hausa communities. Don't negotiate with headsmen, Yoruba leaders. Not an elders urge Buhari to meet governors. Security remains our priority. Federal government speaking there. Now to the front page of the Punch newspaper. Headers registration begins. Nigeria Governors Forum, Miyetti Allah back Akeredolu's order. A governor's order stays despite peace talks. Headsmen start living under forests. A Governors Forum urges states to raise farmers, herders, killings. Makinde more concerned with political status than getting solutions, says Minister. All right, to the front page of this day now. Miyetti Allah agrees with governors in ban of open grazing, underage night herding, illegal occupation of forest reserves to be outlawed. Yam Yusuf urged Buhari to take responsibility for defense of Nigerians. And on the front page of the Vanguard, under government's ultimatum, Miyetti Allah concedes as headsmen starts registration, says no more night underage grazing in Southwest. Southwest governors Jigawa, Kebbi back Akeredolu's quit order. Under governor was misconstrued. Fayemi, a crime has no ethnic color. Uyetola Makinde don't negotiate with Miyetti Allah. Yoruba leaders want Southwest governors. Right to the Nation newspaper now. Governors Miyetti Allah open grazing must end. NGF mark ban strike peace deal. Igboho insists herders must vacate Southwest. And to the Daily Sun now. Tension heightens as governors endorse quit notice to headsmen, says under government after criminals, not Fulani, agree to end night and underage grazing. Federal government, military, political leaders intervene. Address grazing problem now. Northern elders tell Buhari. Well, finally, the Guardian, federal government's revenue shortfall debts weakening CBN's intervention. CBN financing deficit is highly inflationary, says DG LCCI. Well, those are the stories on the front pages this morning. But let's quickly turn our attention to the story that is on most of the papers this morning, talking about the resolutions reached by the Governors Forum. that met in Ondo State yesterday. So many resolutions were reached, but one or two critical areas was open grazing banned, underage grazing as well as illegal occupation of the forest has been banned as well. And there's been diverse reaction to these resolutions reached. And I wonder, let me begin with you, Funke. What do you make of the resolution reached? Do you think that it will address this age-long issue?
Well, for me, all is well that ends well. It's ending well as it is. But I will not fail to draw attention to the fact that there was a leadership gap. This had gone on for so long, and people were crying, farms were being destroyed, and the governors didn't say a thing. Right. With the exception of the governor of Ondo State, who gave that order about forest reserves. And then Sunday Igboho came into the picture, and that catalyzed what we're reading about this morning. It's such a shame that a citizen had to rise up to defend his people, for our leaders to wake up to their responsibilities. It's good that open grazing is now banned. Let's see how truly enforced that will be. It's also good that there will be no more underage grazing, because these are the people. I mean, look at the woman who was shot by the chin and whose thumb was cut off. It was open grazing. They were just there on the highway, and they shot at her. It's impunity, and we hope that with these resolutions, this will stop. At least this will be minimized. Let's hope there will be reinforcement, because really it was a failure of institutions as well. The police were there. The police force as an institution was there, was listening to all of these cries, all of these. They saw all of this, but didn't react until Sunday Igboho reacted. So it's just, let's hope that their late response will birth something good moving forward.
Right. You're trying to react to what you say.
Because how do you say that the resolutions will abate the violence? Are we talking about reducing violence or putting a permanent and complete stop to it? You see, when you say you are banning open grazing, right, and you are registering herders, where is the ranch
that they will graze?
Where they will graze? They don't have ranches down south here or wherever. So they're just begging or hugging the question and postponing the evil day. As late as Saturday, the woman you mentioned, she was shot, so terribly wounded, she lost her thumb. The video is everywhere. As late as yesterday in Adigbe, in Abeokuta, herders were still trooping into Ogun State. As late as yesterday in Esie, Iludun, in Kwara State, they were still trooping in with trucks to drop cows, and people are saying, no, we don't welcome this. Now, in all of this, my concern, my pain is the fact that animal husbandry or herding is a private business. How has it come to be so central that it is beginning to tug at the soul of our nation, that it has so scattered us, pitting some tribe or ethnic group against the other? We have tailors, we have pig farmers, we have all kinds of people who do their thing without creating chaos. So what is the big deal about animal rearing that has now become such a big deal? It's a shame that things got to a head, and as always, King David was a nobody when he wrestled with Saul and restored the glory of Israel. So for me, Sunday Igboho came in that class. There was leadership vacuum. And as always, nature was a vacuum.
That's right.
Somebody had to step in because things were no longer going the way they should go. A situation whereby I know Dr. Aborede, I had met him before. He came from the US, established a firm, over 300 acres of land, hired people, and then you unleashed animals to destroy his farm. He went to report to the Seriki, and on his way, they apprehended him and slaughtered him like an animal.
Of course, that
The
shouldn't
same
go.
thing-
That
just-
shouldn't
just
go
wait,
without.
Just wait.
Yeah.
The same thing with the woman that has a first station in Idogo, who happens to be cousin to a friend. They went to kidnap her. She resisted, and then they shot her. The story has continued unabated.
And these are reported cases.
And the reported cases.
That's what I said. It's
Now,
a
and the
failure of
point
an
again is
institution
this.
as well.
See, we've had, I remember about 10, 15 years ago, we were going from Abeokuta to Iseyin to drop my friend's daughter, who was going for NYSC orientation camping exercise. On that axis, Sokoto Road, they call it Sokoto Road, Abeokuta, that takes us to Igbora, Lanlate, and all of that. 3 times we escaped being attacked. That was there. Last year, a lady whose boyfriend, of let me say fiancé now, they was killed on that same axis, made it public. Okoloyun Alhaji Fatah Yusuf, very popular herbalist,
Right.
was murdered exactly 1 year ago, last Friday, on that same road. What happened? Security promised to leave no stone unturned. Now, leaving no stone unturned, we were getting more rapes, more violence, more deaths, and more hacking. How do people just, how do you, I can't add
As I
that
said
up.
earlier,
Now,
yeah.
my disagreement with this communique
Resolution.
the resolution is the fact that they have only caressed or
It has not
decorated
addressed the root causes.
the root cause is still there, and where do we go from there? So
Right.
how do they feed the cows when you say no
Well,
open
they
grazing?
suggested that
Have they
perhaps
planted any
herders
grass
should
before now?
embrace ranching and all of that.
If they're going to embrace ranching is not an overnight thing. I have seen
Definitely
ranches
not.
all over the world. It's not. It's a purpose-driven and planned and sustainable
Approach.
approach. So you don't just say no open grazing then. Do what? 7 years ago, it was Chief Olufalaye that had a very bitter taste. They were coming to take water from his dam, a private dam for that matter, and the man said no issue. More so, he was in denied. Suddenly, they came and then invaded his farm, ate his entire maize farm. He went to report to the police. Nothing was done. Some of them were invited, of course, they were released. They came for the man and he was kidnapped. It was a miracle that they didn't kill the man. Till today, Chief Olufalaye still lives with that fear. My friend came from the US to set up a farm in Benin, a plantation.
Too many cases.
A plantation.
Too many cases.
Too many to mention.
Exactly.
He is back in the US now on wheelchair. Why? His entire plantain farm was eaten up in less than 48 hours.
And then you want this to just
And you are
be
now saying
a resolution, and then that's the
doesn't
end of
address
that
the
way.
issue.
No, there should be. I feel that there should be a panel of inquiry. Let's have all of these people.
Which some persons are calling for.
Let's have all of these people. Hold on. Let's have all of these people who've had the bad side of this development, so that the people who are arguing and saying it's not as bad as it seemed and it's not as bad as they've reported can see the devastation that has occurred in this part of Nigeria, and then we can say, okay, what will be the compensation? You can't just leave people's farms destroyed, their means of livelihood destroyed, and then
Right.
you come up with a resolution. It's not possible. And
There
then
has to
if
be
you
some
say,
sort of
as he has,
compensation,
yes,
yes.
and as he has said, if you say there should be open grazing, where? I mean, there shouldn't be open grazing. Where do they go? How do you stop them from moving en masse to these farms? Do you even check, do you have checkpoints in all of these places to stop them from moving to this part of Nigeria?
Right.
You have to put all of this in place.
Let me also say this. We've always been saying that when people come to settle in other people's places, they have their authorities, traditional authorities. They should work under that arrangement. But what do you see? They establish their own oligarchy or monarchy. Then there's a Seriki to whom they owe allegiance, not to the local Kabisi
I mean,
or Oba.
who does that?
Who does that? Now, in the Gogon, the amphitheater of last Friday, they had kidnapped the son of the Oba of Igogo, and he had to pay 4 million naira before it would be released. As late as Thursday, it was in the media that some soldiers led some headsmen to some areas in Ogun State to go and flog the natives for refusing them access to their farms. And you are talking about resolutions. Who does resolution?
The same governors who were sleeping when all of these were happening.
But there has to be long and short-term measures in place.
See, when we say long and short-term, how workable is the instant ban where there is no provision
of where they should
there must be an alternative.
And this
you don't understand. Again, they should dismantle their monarchical structure. All these Seriki things, they should stop that. The same way we have Ndigbo.
But wouldn't that make it easy for them to be able to trace and
track
exactly.
a particular place that has authority, both local and otherwise. So if you get into that place, you go to the Oba of the place, not set up your own Oba.
Let me
who
tell
you take commands from, and then you subordinate the rightful Oba.
Absolutely.
It's not done.
And let me also say this: in Africa, traditional rulers, they are not just appointed; they come from royal families. So when you just get to a place, and for whatever reason they make you Seriki or leader or whatever, and then you start feeling hip with yourself, start misbehaving.
Please.
At the meeting they had on Wednesday, the Seriki Fulani of Igogo was absent, and there was the man
at the center of it all,
accused of acting as intermediary between kidnappers and victims.
Accused.
So much so that they listed the number of cars they found in his premises.
He's not untouchable.
Expensive automobiles. And the question was it from the sale of cows that he acquired all those?
Well, the governors have resolved now.
See,
the governors have resolved now.
For there to be sanity, there must be investigation that will bring people to book.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I don't want to that we don't know them or they're not part of. I don't want to hear that. Good enough, they said there's a place in the Igogo where they are prospecting for gold. They should also go there. Security should also go there. The information is out there. It's not hidden. They should go there and arrest people.
Now, speaking about investigations,
exactly.
to cut in, the governors have resolved now that whatever your status, whoever you are, if you are found culpable, you'll be brought to book. So
what do they mean by that?
Do that?
There are people already on ground. They should investigate and bring people to book and then give justice to those who deserve justice. What are they going to do to Dr. Bolade who died?
You know what they're saying?
Are they going to compensate? Is it just going to go like that?
Hello. A community that was forced to pay 50 million naira for them to have sanity in their community. So they just say, go home and sin no more. No. Those who did that, they are within that community.
And where are the arms coming from? The arms.
They have spoken about infiltration.
Where are they coming from?
Outside of the country.
So then we have failure of security. So the minister is wrong to tell us that Nigeria is better in terms of security than when they met it. Where are these arms coming from? And where are they getting into private hands?
How are they hands of bandits in the society in Nigeria?
Nigerians need to know that the bulk of these people are not Nigerians. Some are from Niger, some are from Mali, some are renegades from Libya, and some are from
Which they have said as
well.
Which means our security is nothing to write home about. Security chiefs are silent.
And then you are now saying,
they have said
there's
go home and sin no more.
Excuse me, security chiefs are silent in this matter. This is not part of security.
They have agreed that security needs to be strengthened. And they have also talked about the fact that, yes, there is the need to bring up local solutions.
I can talk, they can talk.
Really?
Veronica, they can't talk. They do. They take action. They can't equate themselves with me. I'm a civilian. I'm a journalist. I will talk. I will talk about things they should do. They should take action. That's what we're waiting for. Security chiefs are not meant to be talking. They're not policing Nigeria properly. foreigners are getting in, they're bringing in arms and ammunition and terrorizing the people, and you sit pretty and talk?
Can I ask you
Come
a
on.
question?
Right.
You know, as a child growing up, AK-47 was very far
That is
from
absolutely.
reach. But today, I mean, we grew up with headsmen. They were using sticks. So much that in Yoruba language, there's a proverb that says, Igba ọ̀pá kan ni Malafin da igba màlúù. That is only a stick, with only a stick, that a Malam manages 200 cows. But suddenly, what do you find? Everybody carrying AK-47 as if it's a new toy in town. And it's so, look at me, we just can't carry on this way. In December, I was going to Uzoro for a wedding. We couldn't go further. Why? Ahead of us were headsmen shooting at vehicles, cars, buses, and picking people, taking them into the forest.
And then to make matters worse.
and then you are saying you are passing resolution. Let's make resolution. I mean, they're not. See, I don't know why.
If this is not what you expected them to have said, or this not the resolution, what were you expecting them to have perhaps spoken
you want me
about?
to do their job for them?
No.
For me,
maybe.
For me, two things I'd like to draw attention to. One is that when we have developments like this, media is at the presidency should learn to keep quiet if they don't have any good thing to say, because the statements of Shehu Garba also added
very provocative.
It was like fuel for fire.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why people just talk irresponsibly like this. It's not fair.
See, if you say we should advise on what to do,
quickly, because
they
we need to
must
leave now.
acknowledge the fact that animal husbandry is a private business.
All right.
Therefore, it has no business becoming so central in our national life.
Okay.
So much that the last 2 weeks, it's been the only thing that we've been talking about.
Finally,
Abandoned governance.
Finally, for me, quickly, a responsive and responsive government having a federation like Nigeria should be careful how to not fan the embers of ethnicity.
All right.
Right? In this matter, if you're a father and you have multiple children and one is being recalcitrant, you don't
Rein the child in.
Yeah, and you don't make the others feel like they're not,
and that's worthy. A fine place to leave the conversation now. Public affairs analyst Olade Njario, thank you for your time. Broadcast journalist Funke Treasure, thank you for your time as well. We have to leave the conversation now.